Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this webinar on how to treat dairy and wheat allergies. So, really, our subject today is how to improve your digestion. Now, I know many people, first have the impression that, oh, I can't eat any dairy. I can't digest dairy. I mean, I'm meeting patients every day, and I hear this really almost daily that I can't digest dairy. I can't digest wheat. Well, we're going to explain today that you can, and the real issue is your digestive system. In fact, I have people even who believe they're a celiac or even maybe diagnosed by the doctor as being celiac and discover that after treatment, they can eat wheat again. People think they're lactose intolerant, and after treatment and understanding of how to improve your digestion, which they really should be teaching in school, how to have good digestion and take care of your health would be a good school subject, because this whole subject on digestion is really not that complicated. And we're going to teach you, one, how to improve your digestion so you can eat more foods, including wheat and dairy. Two, we're going to talk about those people based on Ayurveda, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or certain health conditions or certain states of certain individuals who should not even just have the wheat or dairy, whether they can digest it or not. And third, we're going to talk about home remedies and herbal remedies to strengthen your digestion and help you to be able to digest a whole wide range of foods. So you could really, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between digesting wheat and dairy. Both are considered hard to digest, except for the exception of ghee, which is considered easy to digest. But overall, the main theme here is to improve your digestion so you can digest these foods. Now, of course, people generally start off before they become my patient. Oh, I kept getting gas and bloated and constipated from wheat, so I stopped it. Okay. Then I got gas and bloating from dairy, so I stopped it. But then if you ask them, what about other foods like broccoli, cabbage? Oh, yeah, also give me gas and bloating. What about this? Also give me gas and bloating. So you see the problem is really much wider than what they think. And I think people, they get online and they start thinking, well, I get gas and bloating, and online says all dairy's bad, so they're going to leave it off. All wheat is bad, so they're going to leave it off. Of course, online, they're going to tell you to stop eating all grains, all fruit. And now the carnivore diet, probably the most crazy extreme diet you're going to find, is not even eating vegetables anymore. I made the prediction years ago, maybe only like 4 or 5 years ago, that someday there'll be a diet where people don't even want to eat vegetables, because at the time, wheat was not popular, dairy was not popular, animal protein was not popular. People were getting down on fruit a couple of years ago. No fruit, of course, fruit juices can be a problem, but they used to say no fruit is a problem. So then I made a joke in a few webinars. Someday there'll be a diet where there's no veggies. Well, now we've got it. But my point is, just eliminating foods that you can't digest is not fixing the problem. Let's just think of your car. This is a good analogy, I hope. If you've done something to your car, maybe you've drove it too fast and you didn't put enough oil in it or something, or you just didn't maintain it well and the engine wasn't running, very well, and you had problems with the cylinders, the pistons, and for example, or your carburetor got all clogged up, and then you took it to the mechanic and he told you, oh, you haven't been changing the oil, you've been using poor fuel, you even changed this filter, that filter. So he does all this work and changes the filter and educates you. But any damage that was done to the car is still going to be there. So you still have to go fix the problem. Now, you've created the problem by not maintaining the car well, but if you damaged the car you still have to go back and repair it. And that's what people do with their digestion. They unknowingly damage their own digestion and make it weaker and weaker. And then instead of fixing the problem, they blame the food. So it would be like, driving the car and you're blaming the car, but the car isn't really the problem. It was you who didn't drive it right, didn't maintain it right, and created the problem with your vehicle. And once you're educated on how to maintain your car, it doesn't happen again. So it was never the car's fault. You may have blamed it for many years, but once you realized what you did wrong and not maintaining it right, then, of course, the problem doesn't come back. It's the same. So first, we're going to talk about the digestive rules. There are digestive rules advocated by Ayurveda, and I think Ayurveda really has the most sophisticated health system on the planet for improving digestive problems. I mean, like I said, people always are telling me, oh, I can't digest this, I can't digest that. Within 2-3 weeks, or the first follow-up appointment, guess what? They're eating most of these foods. Now, there'll always be some foods that I tell them, based on my knowledge of you and your digestive system, you can't digest. But let's talk about these rules. Ayurvedic rules, Chinese rules. Hippocrates spoke about a lot of these digestive rules, and many third world people know them. Many old grandmas in South America and Mexico know all these rules. But people searching on YouTube, they don't know these rules. But they are ancient knowledge. So I would just, make a little list and drop these down, because if you have any digestive problems, gas, bloating, constipation, then or lack of hunger or lack of appetite, these are considered digestive issues as well. Then first step is to follow the rules of good digestion, just like there are rules for good car maintenance. And just because you don't know them, if you have a car, you should know how to maintain it. So you have your digestive system, which is essential for your health, because that's your whole source of getting nutrients. So a lot of people just keep throwing in supplements and digestive enzymes, and digestive enzymes are not fixing your digestive system. You can always tell somebody who really doesn't understand the digestive system, or at least how to treat it, when they just give you digestive enzymes. These digestive enzymes should be made by your body, by your pancreas in particular. And by taking the enzyme, you're not fixing the problem. You're helping your digestion for that meal. And of course, there's cases where you have to take digestive enzymes, like if you have pancreatitis or a condition where your pancreas isn't working, then you have to take these they're supplementing or replacement. We should call it replacement therapy, or replacing the enzymes your body should be making because you have no pancreas. Just like you may have to take hormone replacement therapy if you've had a hysterectomy, because you have no way to make these hormones anymore. So you have to take hormone replacement. So when you take enzymes, you're taking digestive enzyme replacement therapy. You're still not fixing the problem. And of course, Bernard Jensen, he was a big advocate of these digestive enzymes, and he advocated them all the time with all of his meals. And then later on in life, he realized that it created dependency and it didn't solve the digestive problem. So again, let's start with these. Number 1 rule: don't eat if you're not hungry. That's right. It's like, don't cook the bread if the oven's not hot. You cannot digest food unless the body is ready. What does the body have to do to get ready? It needs stomach enzymes. Stomach acids. That's what makes you like, I want to eat now. And some people even can get a little acidity and heartburn and indigestion until they eat something. Well, that means you got stomach acids. That's the body telling you now's the time to eat. Other things the body needs to do is it needs to have enough bile and, pancreatic enzymes all need to be ready to go. So the body has to be ready, and it will send you the signals that it's time to eat by telling you, I'm hungry. stop whatever you're doing, eat. So if you're a person and you're just eating for the sake of eating, this can happen in many scenarios. Many people think, well, I heard it's good to eat in the morning, so I eat in the morning. Sometimes a spouse is living with another spouse, their partner who's a great cook. So the great cook is cooking the 3 meals a day. Often the woman is cooking 3 meals. The husband wants to be polite, so he just sits down and eats his 3 meals every day to be polite or to be with the family. And next thing you know, he's obese because he's been eating when not hungry. Rule number 1, don't eat until you're hungry. Now, I'm going to teach you later how to make yourself hungry at the right time. So you need to learn how to make yourself hungry. And of course, many grandmas know how to do this to keep the kids hungry. And that goes to rule number 2. This is rule number 2 is don't be snacking on nuts, crackers, chips, peanuts, anything between the meal besides a little bit of fruit. And that's the way grandmas and old school mamas kept their kids hungry. Don't let them snack. Because if you give that kid protein bars and cookies and trail mix, then when dinner comes, he's not hungry. Then he's eating food when he's not hungry. And when he's not hungry, he's not going to digest it well, going to feel bloated. Maybe even some people will get constipated later. They're going to have low energy because when you're not digesting well, you're going to have low energy. You're going to have fatigue. And these are going to make you more tired, make you gravitate towards stimulants and coffee. So you're eating, you're feeling heavy, you're feeling bloated. And then you feel tired after a while because you start throwing in more vitamins, and then you have to throw in coffee. And now you're living off of coffee and vitamins, when the whole problem was you were not digesting the food because you're snacking all the time, and then you've ruined your appetite. Okay, that's what it's called, ruining your appetite. Unless you're a skinny, really bony thing, you're gonna make it for a couple more hours till dinner, and you can always have a little fruit for a snack because fruit, it's got its own digestive enzymes, particularly like papaya. There's no fat in the fruit except for an avocado, and he's a little bit of an exception. So there's no fat, so you don't need bile from your gallbladder because there's no fat there, and there's no protein in a fruit, so you don't need a bunch of stomach acid. So you can pretty much snack on blueberries, strawberries, and apples. Different people, different fruits will be more suitable as per Ayurveda. But you can have these, and they don't burden your digestive system. So it's 3 or 4 o'clock, and you're just really hungry, and you eat some apples or blueberries, and you're still going to be hungry in 2 more hours for dinner. You didn't ruin your appetite because you didn't use up your digestive capacity. You only have so much digestive capacity, so much enzymes you're making in your pancreas, so much bile you're putting in your gallbladder, so much stomach acid that you're making every day. You only got so much. So you don't want to waste it on the snacks. That's why you just have the fruit and wait for your meal, and the hungrier you are, the stronger your digestion. Okay, rule number 3, don't mix fruit with the meal. I just said you can snack on fruit, but don't mix fruit with the meal. Chinese talk about this. Hippocrates talks about this. Ayurveda talks about this. Everybody knows this, but people who spend their time looking for health advice online don't seem to have picked this up yet, even though I have many webinars on subject of digestion where I emphasize that food combining is very important. And the worst food combining is putting fruit with your meal. And maybe technically the worst is fruit with yogurt, which you can buy, of course, in the store. Here you're taking this we could call it alkaline dairy product with this sour fruit. A lot of fruits are a little bit sour, and you mix them together, you're going to have bloating. Remember in school, baking soda and vinegar? Well, that's what you're doing. And it leads to candida, SIBO, bloating, gas, burping, because all this air. And then when you have all this fermentation taking place through poor food combining, there's many poor food combining, but the worst is mixing the fruit with the meal, because this adds the quote sugar to it, and helps make grains in particular start to ferment. And when it's fermenting, that fermentation process, is using up the nutrients that you're supposed to be digesting. So I've seen people do like a lot of sauerkraut, a lot of overdue fermented foods. This can be another problem. Too much fermented foods. I've had many people who, on their follow-up appointment, I go, "Oh, how's the gas and bloating now?" And they said, "Oh, much better when I took the strawberries out of my oatmeal," which I did for my whole life, and I stopped bloating the whole rest of the day. So that's a perfect example. Now there's little exceptions. A little dried mango in there doesn't get you so much. There's always exceptions to these rules if you really know how it works. But it's these sweet fruits like blueberries and strawberries that we tend to put on our oats or with a grain, and then we throw in the yogurt as well. Bad food combining is a big problem. Another one, number 4. What are we up to? 4, no cold foods. Now, I assume you're having digestive problems if you're listening to this. Now, if you come to me and you say, "Hey, I'm hungry for my 3 meals. I have no gas, no bloating, no constipation. I have 3 bowel movements a day, no acidity, no heartburn, and I don't feel heavy and sleepy and tired after meals." And okay, we can move on to whatever your health problems are. And I usually don't emphasize all these rules. And there are some people who can get away with some fruit in their meal and not have any problem at all. So it depends on the individual. But if you have the digestive problem, then for sure your first step before you blame the food is to follow these basic rules first. Don't be snacking. Don't have good food, simple food combining. The more things you start combining together, the more chance you're going to have more digestive problems. The simpler the meal, the simpler the food. So what's number 4? Number 4 is no cold foods, no cold drinks, no cold water. Ice water is the most destructive thing for your digestive system, really your whole body, because there's no anatomy. There's no organ in the body except for the men's testes that needs to be cold. Everything needs to be warm. Your body needs to be warm. Your head needs to be warm. Your blood needs to be warm. All your organs need to be warm. Your stomach needs to be warm. Particularly the digestive system needs to be warm. So the worst thing you could ever do is have ice water with the meal. Now, and even eating ice cream at night, or sipping or having cold salads. Sometimes Vata Prakriti type of people who are thin, cold, light, dry, and generally cold by nature. They already have cold feet. They're cold, wearing jackets all the time. They get cold feet. They should not have any, even salad. So many people, again, when they do the follow-up, I said, "Okay, how's that gas and bloating now?" And they're like, "Well, once I stopped the smoothie, I had no more gas and bloating." Well, see, the big smoothies are probably the biggest problem I see with digestion, because somehow people got it in their head throwing everything into a blender, manuka honey, goji berries. What are we throwing in now? Oh yeah, mushrooms. And don't forget, we're doing intermediate fasting same time. So we're following these fads online. And then protein powder. Collagen's popular now. We're throwing in collagen. I don't know if people are still buying the expensive manuka honey, but everybody was for a while. But anyway, they throw it in. Oh, cacao. That was really popular. So to throw in some cacao, blend it all up, fruit, some frozen fruits, some strawberries. Oh, don't forget the kale. Throw in the kale, blend it all up, and you drink that, and you feel, wow, I feel full. I'm not even hungry all day. Well, that's because you couldn't digest it. So smoothies are out for a few reasons. 1, cold. 2, poor food combining. You shouldn't even be mixing fruits and vegetables together. Not alone fruits, vegetables, oil, fat, mushrooms, goji berries, and honey. All this blend is terrible food combining and cold. If you really want to drink some of your vitamins, then just, do some vegetable juice. Do some carrot juice or celery juice, but don't do too much celery juice. That was a big fraud too, the celery juice fraudster. It's good for some people. A lot of these things that we see online that I call frauds, It's not that they don't have value for somebody, possibly the person who did the video, but the way they present it, they think everybody should do it, the same thing as them. And that was the case of celery juice. Celery juicing is a strong diuretic. Celery has almost no calories in it. So if you're overweight and you have a lot of water retention, then celery juice could be good for you. It's going to get this water out of your body, and it's a diuretic. It's kind of cleansing. And you definitely can't gain weight like, say, having carrot juice, which is quite sweet. You can't put up your blood sugar with celery juice. So there's these benefits, but it's really only for the overweight, swelling person. If you're underweight, thin person who's dry and you start doing celery juice, you're just going to make your whole condition worse. So you have to keep that in mind. So I would not even be doing any juice smoothies. Maybe some vegetable juice. And even for vegetable juice, if you did like carrot, celery, and something like that, you should always put some ginger in it to make it warm. It doesn't always have to be physically warm. It should be warming. So that gets up to number 5. Always add some appropriate spices. We don't mean chili pepper. Chili pepper doesn't help your digestion. Add in ginger, cumin, coriander, or Western or Mediterranean spices, thyme, sage, rosemary, garlic, onions. By adding these to your food, it will help you to digest them, because these things like pepper, ginger, even garlic, they're stimulating your digestive enzymes. They're stimulating your digestion. Now, if you're a person who's just hungry all the time and you get heartburn because you're just so hungry, you have so much stomach acids, then you obviously can't be taking a lot of ginger and garlic and onions because your digestive system's already so strong. If you take someone like me, if I take too much ginger, I'll just get heartburn. I don't need a ginger, I need like fennel and coriander, just tone down my digestive system. So I'll have like fennel tea or mild tea after a meal, but not the ginger. But a lot of people who can't have dairy in particular, they have just even ginger tea with the meal, putting more spice in the food. So the next number, 5, 6, if you're having big digestive problems, cook your food. Make it like a soup, particularly if you're constipated. Make it soft and don't do so much raw vegetables. A lot of people have digestive problems just because they're trying to do all raw. That's kind of an old fad, and people have realized, well, it doesn't all work for everybody. And it's hard to digest all those raw vegetables. And when you cook it and make it into a soup, it's much easier to digest, particularly if you have a lot of gas and bloating. You should avoid, raw kale, which is what everybody was doing for a while. And this led to a lot of gas and bloating, and even irritable bowel conditions like IBS were coming just from people having a lot of raw kale. And they were getting the gas and bloating for a long time, but they just kept going with the raw kale until they started bleeding out the rectum and they were diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So, too much roughage, too much raw vegetables can really irritate your intestinal lining. And after a while, you can become very hypersensitive. And I have many talks on inflammatory colon conditions and IBS, but we're going to stick here to just digesting these hard to digest foods. Wheat and dairy are considered hard to digest. So I would make those basic changes first, have more warm foods. Just try to make and wait until you're really hungry. Just make your digestion stronger. If you're not very hungry in the morning, just have a little ginger tea or even chew on a slice of ginger before your meal, or just sip ginger tea in the morning before the meal to get the appetite going. This ginger will get the stomach acids going and get you hungry, so you can start to make yourself hungry when you need to be hungry, and stop all this snacking. So that's really the first tip, is just make your digestion stronger right across the board. And now number 2, we're going to get down to, who should even have dairy, or what types of dairy, and who should have wheat and who shouldn't. So let's talk about wheat. You should never eliminate all grains, first of all. That's just a bad idea. There's a lot of nutrients and vitamins and B vitamins in particular that come with grains. And there's absolutely no reason to eliminate all grains. Even if you're diabetic, I can get your blood sugar down and improve your insulin resistance, and you can still be eating grains. Now, there's certain grains when you have blood sugar issue you have to avoid, like white rice, white bread, and having grains all by themselves is not good because the grain should always be with some oil or fat. But if we get back to wheat, who should not even be having wheat in the first place? Well, we know Ayurveda has 3 dominant body types: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata is a skinny, cold, dry person, and Pitta is the warm, hot, aggressive, hungry person, muscular and aggressive. And then Kapha is a heavy, round, calm person who gains weight easy. Well, if you go look in ancient texts, that Kapha type shouldn't have wheat anyway. So if you're Kapha, big, round, heavy, gaining weight easily, clammy body, not hot, not too cold, just then just skip the wheat, because it's going to be a weight gainer, which is one reason why people are anti-wheat, because it gains weight. But what happens if you're someone like me who has a strong digestion, can eat almost anything, warm, hot, hungry type of guy? I can eat bread all day long, 3 meals a day. No problem, no gas, no bloating, no problem, because my digestive system as Pitta Prakriti is quite strong. So for Ayurveda, usually if we pick any food, in this case, we're talking about wheat, is one type it's not good for at all. In this case, it's the Kapha. This one type that it's really actually quite good for, that's the Pitta. That's my type. And then the third type is a Vata, where it's like sometimes it can be good, sometimes not good. Like a lot of Vatas, even they improve their digestion, they have trouble digesting wheat because basically, wheat is hard to digest. And Vatas are just born with a little bit of a weaker digestive system, just like the Pitta Prakriti person is just born with a stronger digestive system. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. So for Vata type, if they're having a lot of digestive problems, I just put them on rice. But a lot of times they come back and a month later they're eating wheat. And of course, if we get down to so that's the first thing. If you're Kapha, just forget the wheat. There's other grains you could have. You could have buckwheat, you could have rye, you could have quinoa. You shouldn't leave out grains, but you can just skip the wheat, the oats, because they are weight gaining. Now, we're not talking, I got a little extra weight on my thighs, I'm not happy with weight. We're talking somebody who's, overweight and has a weight problem their whole life. In a Kapha Prakriti, shouldn't have wheat and oats. But there are other grains, like quinoa is very popular, even rye is properly, even almond flour is suitable in small amounts. So now different types of wheat are different, particularly for the Vata type who's kind of in the middle. They do sourdough bread. They have no problem. That's right, because sourdough bread, proper bread, like in Europe, when they make the bread, they knead it, and it takes a couple days for it to rise. And you can go, many people have discovered this. You go to Europe, you go to Italy, you go to Spain, you're eating white bread, pizzas, pasta, and you're not having any digestive problems at all. But you come back to USA, you have a digestive problems, unless you buy like some of the more high quality organic breads. It has to be organic when we talk flours and grains, because otherwise it's covered in glyphosate, which leads to a lot of this intestinal fermentation, leaky gut, irritable bowel, hypersensitivity is all coming from the pesticides. And this is very common because people are having a lot of pesticides, particularly in USA, where they double spray the glyphosate, the remnant of the DDT, and use a lot more chemicals that are banned in other countries, including genetically modified, which is banned in many other countries. And so we're getting this low quality wheat sprayed with chemicals that slowly destroys our intestinal lining, because that's what the glyphosate does to the bug. It just kills it from the inside out. It's like it destroys its intestinal lining. So, you eat this long enough, you can start to have intestinal digestive problems, then you become hypersensitive, and then you start thinking you can't eat anything. So again, that came from poor quality wheat. Now you go to a farmer's market, you go get the made by with yeast and kneaded sourdough bread, and suddenly you have no problem. So you can't just blame all wheat. You have to be sure you're having quality wheat, and definitely consider sourdough. There are a couple brands in the supermarket that are quite good, organic, like Ezekiel probably is the best bread. It's a sprouted wheat, all organic, and they're putting some other, mixing a couple grains together, which makes it better. So first, you have to have really good wheat. Now, if we go over to dairy, again, let's talk about dairy. Who should have dairy? Who shouldn't have dairy? Now, dairy is a little more complicated because there's many forms of dairy. We have yogurt, we have milk, we have kefir, we have goat milk, we have butter, and we have ghee. So a lot of people say, oh, I can't have any dairy. I can't have dairy. And I go, what about butter? Oh, yeah, that's fine. What about ghee? Oh, yeah, no problem. So, sometimes we just lump it all together that, I can't have any dairy, but in fact, you can. Oh, what about a little yogurt with a little water, like a little cup? No problem. So really what a lot of people say when they say I can't have dairy, they mean milk. And really, we have a big problem here with the milk, just like we've got the bad pesticide-covered wheat, particularly if you're eating in a restaurant and not buying organic bread from the store or making it yourself. That's the best. I know many people that said, well, I never thought I could eat wheat. As long as I'm making it at home, sourdough's like no problem at all. That's right. And of course, you got to follow the digestive rules. But if we go over to dairy, milk in this country, unless you're getting it raw from the farm, which is what we do here in California, you can buy raw milk in the store. In Texas, you can get it from the farm. So I think it's the same for many states. Either you can get it in the store or you can get it from the farmer, but it's definitely worth getting. Now, there are some people that shouldn't have milk, and let me cover that. But that's the first thing. You got to have good quality. So when, I always say, don't blame the cow. The cow didn't ruin the milk. Humans ruin the milk, not the cow. If you had the nice cow in your backyard and you were milking them and drinking it straight, you would not ever have a digestive problem with it. And people did this for, tens of thousands of years, had dairy cows in their backyard. They just have one cow for the whole family. And still farmers still do it. And if you take that fresh raw milk, very few people have digestive problems. So it's really a matter of quality. We know when you pasteurize it, particularly this high temperature pasteurization, you're destroying all the healthy bacteria that helps you digest it, which comes in raw milk. Two, it's cold. That's also a problem. Some people have just said, hey, I just warm up the milk and I don't have a problem anymore. Other people said, hey, I don't have it with the meal. I have it like on an empty stomach, warm at night, which has been a traditional thing with a pinch of nutmeg to help you sleep, and no problem. But I have it with a meal, problem. See, food combining alone can be a problem. But we're talking qualities. You need not pasteurized and homogenized. You need raw. Now, I have seen some low pasteurized milk, and that's better. And you can also get in the store, I've noticed, milk that's not homogenized. Homogenized is like high pressure, where it breaks it down in a molecular structure so that the fat doesn't separate and the cream doesn't go to the top. So I've seen in the store, they've got pasteurized milk that's not homogenized and the cream's on the top. That is much easier to digest. And that cream on the top, very easy to digest. I mean, you can give it to babies. And that's what I do to baby kittens, by the way. I have a lot of cats and dogs. We don't give chickens milk, but baby kittens and puppies, they really love milk. And I get them the raw milk. And when they're young, I give them the cream on the top. They love it. Makes them really healthy and strong and builds them up and, helps wean them off of mother's milk. One of the best things for a mammal is this raw milk, right after mother's milk. in between there. And as long as you're a person trying to grow bones and get bigger and have, become stronger, which is what children are all doing, then milk is perfect. Now, again, Ayurveda has specific instructions for different types of people. Like it's almost the same as the wheat. The pitta person, like me, red, hot, hungry, we do very good with milk, and particularly in the summer. Milk is extremely cooling. Cow milk is cooling because they eat grass, and grass is very cooling. The goats, they eat more roots and leaves and things like that. I had some goats. They eat everything. They eat your lawn furniture too, by the way. I'm never going to do goats again. They eat everything. But their milk is warm because they're eating a much broader range of foods besides just grass. So for Ayurveda, Vata, who's a thin, cold person, doesn't gain weight easy. The best for them is warm goat milk. Now, many Vata people have rolled their eyes when I told them to go they were thin, weak. They wanted to put on weight. They wanted to be stronger. They wanted more muscle. I told them raw goat milk. What's water doing for you? Have a cup of water. They rolled their eyes like, okay. But you come back a month later. Oh, I love that raw milk. I can't live without it. It makes me feel so strong and nourished. And I even sleep better at night. Raw goat milk in particular for the Vata is the best. But even normal raw milk, you can add a little nutmeg, some ginger, some cinnamon to it to make it a little bit warming and easier to digest. And in fact, for a milk, if you give it to a baby, you can just bring it to a quick boil, which isn't like a pure pasteurization. You just kind of heat it up, quick boil, and then let it cool down. And that breaks it down and makes it easier to digest too. For babies, when you're giving them first time some cow milk, just bring it to a boil first and then let it cool and give the child, and that makes it easier to digest. But I have clients that told me they have to bring it to a boil all the time, and they're so happy that they do, because this type of person, Vata type, they really need that nourishment. They're thin. Like if I see very thin, skinny, bony 10-year-old or 12-year-old girl, I tell the mother, give her milk. Oh, she can't have milk. She can't digest milk. Okay, go get the raw milk, go warm it up, put a little cinnamon in it, and then they come back a month later. How's your daughter doing? Oh, she loves the milk. I mean, we have to buy it all the time. See, so people get stuck in their head, even for their children. Oh, you can't digest. Oh, they're lactose intolerant. Oh, you can't have milk. But they don't know. They didn't, know how to prepare the milk, or they were even getting cheap milk from the store. Like I said, you can't blame the cow. The cow isn't what's messing it up. It's us humans. You have to, like a therapist told me, everybody likes to blame their ex-wife or ex-husband. Well, in nutrition and diet, everybody likes to blame the food. I think it's called externalism, where you look outside yourself for the cause of all your problems. And so you have to, internalism is you have to take personal responsibility. In this case, you have to look at your own habits, look at what you're buying, look at your own digestive system, look at your knowledge of digestion, and then you can go and eat a lot of these foods other people weren't eating. But I continue. So the Pitta person like me, we do very good with milk, even in the summer cold. Vata person, heat it up and warm. And if they still can't digest it, I tell them just get yogurt and add some warm water to it and drink it. And they go, oh, that's fine. No problem. So that's, there's degrees of sensitivity. Like I could just drink cold milk out of the fridge. Some people can only have it warm. And then other people, they still have trouble. So they just do a yogurt, like a type of lassi, or a little yogurt water, a little yogurt drink with the meal. And or a little kefir, or just a little yogurt on the meal, then they're fine. Or of course, this person who still has trouble with milk, it's usually just feel a little bloated or gassy, or they can't get the raw milk is the problem. Then they can use the yogurt water, warm yogurt water, yogurt drink, or ghee. Ghee, everybody can digest. So nobody can really not digest ghee. Even people who think they're lactose intolerant notice, hey, I'm having this ghee, no problem. So that's why they made ghee, because butter is harder to digest. And Ayurveda is 100% focused on digestion. If you notice, if you've ever done an appointment with me, I know some of my patients are listening. I hope so. It doesn't, you come to me with arthritis, you come to me with your diabetes, you come to me with your high blood pressure. You notice I always fix your digestion no matter what, because that's per Ayurveda. The digestion has to be running good, or what's the point? It's just like making the engine run in the car. And no point to fix the door that doesn't close in the back if the engine ain't running. You have to have the engine running good to get the fuel and get the nutrients out to be able to drive it forward. And so many people don't understand this importance of digestion, and they're just taking supplements and eliminating foods. That's what everybody does before they come see me. Oh, I can't have dairy. Oh, I can't have wheat. Oh, now I can't have this. I can't eat that. They got this big long list of things they can't eat. And some things I will just tell them, forget those. You shouldn't have them anyway. And these will improve your digestion, and we'll make some changes. And then you're fine. Now, I continue with the dairy. For the kapha type, heavy, overweight, particularly if you have mucus, congestion, respiratory mucus, no dairy for you. Particularly ice cream at night. This will lead you straight to breathing problems, CPAP machines, snoring, all from having cold food at night. I can't imagine how many people came to me with respiratory problems on a CPAP machine, and I told them, stop having the cold drinks. Stop having the ice cream at night. Stop having yogurt at all. Oh, but I thought yogurt's good. And, they're having yogurt with fruit cold out of the fridge at night, and they're wondering why they have mucus and congestion, and they're on a CPAP machine. So you get rid of all these cold mucus creating foods and have hot foods and ginger tea, or I give them like a lung detox, a lung decongestion tea to clear this mucus out. Next thing you know, they're off the CPAP machine within days. It's very quick. This is a good thing about fixing your digestion. It doesn't take long. If you were in my house and I could keep an eye on you and making sure you're not breaking any of the food combining rules, you could fix your digestion in a matter of days. So it's really a matter of education. But anyway, this kapha type, heavy, overweight, tends to get mucus, phlegm, respiratory. They shouldn't have any dairy. Maybe a little ghee, sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese here and there, but that's it. Because again, dairy is building. That's why we give it to babies, kittens, puppies, so because they're growing, they're building. So if you're a child or you have children, and you're still not reached your full height and you're definitely not overweight, then dairy is very building and strengthening. Even wheat is strengthening. The old Roman saying is that, merchants eat rice and soldiers have wheat, because it's more building. Soldier, he wants muscle, he wants strength, and he's physically active. So these Roman soldiers were just eating bread and just dipping it in olive oil and dried out bread they were carrying around, and they could just get flour and make these flat breads and dip them in olive oil and living off of it, no problem. But they're physically strong people, physically active. There's a lot of walking back then. But the merchant, he's just sitting all day. He ends up with a weaker digestive system. So he doesn't do good with the wheat. So that's why they had the saying, merchants eat rice and soldiers have wheat. So if you want to be a soldier, be strong as a soldier, you're going to be better off to have wheat. And if you're thin and underweight, thin skin, you got your bones sticking out of the back of your hands, bones sticking out of your rib cage is visible, you're underweight. I know. A lot of people say, oh, I'm happy with my weight, or, oh, I would be happier if I lost 5 more pounds. Well, it's not a matter of you being happy and looking good in the mirror. It's about being healthy. Not skinny is not healthy. Skinny people are weaker. Of course, in the past, nobody wanted to marry a skinny man or a skinny woman. It just meant weak and frail and are poor. They don't even have enough money to feed themselves. So, some muscle, even some extra body fat to get through in case another pandemic comes and, You need a little body fat for stamina. Even if you're just sick or for a week, you shouldn't be eating. When the best way to recover from a serious infection like a flu is to fast and just have soup, but it's pretty hard to do if you're underweight. So then you end up having to eat, which helps prevent you from healing better. So it's always good to have a few extra pounds in case something happens, like you can't get a hold of food, you don't pass out, like you're stuck in an airport, or there's a pandemic, or all the stores are closed, or a hurricane and you don't have much food, or you just have a bad infection and you have to stay in the bed for a week and just have chicken soup. And you'll just lose your 5-10 pounds. So many people have told me, I had a good news and bad news. I had a bad flu. I was bedridden for almost 2 weeks. And the good news was I lost 8 pounds. And I said, well, just thank God you had the 8 pounds to lose, because if you didn't have that, you would have basically been really depleted and really weak right now. And you may have even made your body weaker and weaker by not eating much, because you don't have much appetite when you're have an infection. And then you have to force yourself to eat. And then you're back to breaking the rule number 1. You're eating when you're not hungry. Other signs of poor digestion, by the way, which people don't think about, is lack of appetite. If you're not hungry till 3 o'clock, you have a digestive problem. In fact, in Ayurveda, they have a name for it. They have all these names for different digestive conditions, which really don't exist in the West. But when you're not hungry at all, and you're not hungry till 3 o'clock, that's called Manda Agni. Now, Agni means fire, your digestive fire. Manda means dull. So there's no fire. And that person is usually feeling pretty slow and sluggish, and and they're just, they have no fire. And the person who's, hungry has usually got some fire. That's why there's another a Roman saying that says the hungry man is the horny man. I was told that really meant is good at reproducing children, but you got the point. So hunger is a good sign. It's a healthy sign. If you have a baby kitten, a baby puppy, or a baby, and it's not hungry and eating all day, you get concerned. But many adults, they're not hungry all the time, and they never think about it. And then if you do eat when you're not hungry, oh my God, it's just going to clog you up and create more weight. I can't not talk about constipation, because another big subject people don't seem to take very seriously and talk about. They should teach this in school: how to digest and how to poop, how to eat, poop, and sleep. Those are what they should have a course on those. So if you're not having a bowel movement every day, or even just one, you're constipated. One bowel movement in Ayurveda is considered minor constipation. If you're missing a whole day, well, that's serious. If you're going a couple days, well, you're going to have diverticulitis, and polyps, and then probably colon cancer if you don't change your ways. Now, just because you think it's normal for you, that's what most people say. Well, how are your bowel movements? Normal. Well, it's normal for them, but they have no reference. They don't know what's happening with other people. Of course, having multiple bowel movements, like 7 or 8 loose stools, then you probably have inflammation in the colon. That's another problem. You should match the number of bowel movements, should match your meals. So if you're having 2 meals every day, you should have 2 bowel movements every day. If you're having 3 meals every day, you should have 3 bowel movements. Then, of course, snacking ruins not only your digestion, but constipates you. So if your bowels, a lot of people have a lot of digestive problems, and I just give them some colon herbs. Bam! Well, they're pooping, have a big bowel movement in the morning, then the appetite goes up, stomach acids bust out, and they're eating everything again. So once you clog the whole system there by not having a bowel movement, which there's many causes of, and I've spoken many times on how to have healthy bowel movements. Once you get that moving at that end of the digestive system, then the rest of it can start working and become stronger, because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want a strong digestion so you can eat these foods that you think you can't eat. That's the goal. And if you're not pooping in the morning, your digestion's going to be weak until you do. I know when I had my son, you try to feed him in the morning, he was not eating. Then he'd say, Daddy, I want to go doo-doo. And so you take him off to the toilet. And I just remember him, putting him on, running him to the toilet. And then as soon as he had his bowel movement, even before he was off the toilet, he just said, okay, now I'm hungry. And I go, okay, I still had to wipe him down and everything. But I realized, wow, the moment he had the bowel movement, he changed from not hungry to hungry. Well, adults too. Again, if you're eating and you're constipated, you're only making the problem worse. So I hope you got the point here. You got the bowels got to be moving. Eating habits got to be good. You can't be grazing like a cow. You have to have meals and you have to have breaks in between the meals. That's what intermediate fasting is when you don't eat between meals. It doesn't mean you go all day and don't eat until the end of the day. That's not healthy. So what can we do? We can do other things to improve our digestion, like home remedies, like, for example, just ginger tea, just sipping ginger tea. There's many combinations like ginger, cumin tea, ginger, cumin, coriander tea, chewing on ginger with you get a little slices of ginger. This is an Ayurvedic way to really get the digestive going. You get little slices of ginger, squeeze some lemon on it, and then put a little salt on it, and then chew it. Well, that just really gets you hungry real fast. And most people don't even need that. They do pretty good just with a little bit of ginger tea, just sipping a little ginger tea with the meal, not gulping it down, because that's another mistake. You can't drink a lot of liquids when you're eating. Now, if you're constipated and you're having dry, hard stools, you probably need more soupy foods and you can sip a little bit more, but you're not gulping the tea down. You're just sipping it to stimulate the digestive system. So let's take a look at a few herbs and herbal remedies which you could get from our sponsor, Herbman Teas. So if we look here at digestion products, you can see there's a lot. There's a lot of products here. So it's not so simple. Usually you have to read about these very carefully if you're going to treat yourself. Of course, if you do an appointment with me, then I know what to do because I know these formulas. But the first one is the food allergy formula. So if you came to me you said, I can't eat wheat, I can't eat dairy, I can't eat nuts, then I would, of course, give you all the guidelines I just gave you now. And maybe instead of milk, I give you just ghee. Instead of, normal wheat, I give you sourdough. But to make sure, if you're coming to me for food allergy, then I'm going to give you this formula after the meals. And it's called Food Allergy Formula, relieves immune reactions like swelling, hives, and itching. So there's a second subject. You can have second factor, I should say, for poor digestion. Could be the immune system. If the immune system is overly sensitive, like you're having allergies, then you get these not so much bloating, but you get more like hives and itching and things like that. So you're having a food allergy. But if anybody comes to me with a serious digestive problem, and that's their main focus of the appointment, and they're having allergic reactions or they've tested for food allergies, then I give them this formula. And you can see these are all Indian herbs, but there is a curcumin extract, and that is the anti-inflammatory. In fact, we know in Ayurveda, we don't really use turmeric for inflammation. We use it as an antihistamine, and that's the way I'm using it here. Turmeric extract, which makes the whole thing a little orange because extract is so bright orange, and that is the natural antihistamine. Chikrat mul, this is a warming, heating herb, similar to ginger for digestion. And haldi actually is the word for turmeric. So there's turmeric in there as well. So turmeric and ginger is a good home remedy, particularly if you're having an allergic reaction, because the ginger makes it warm, kind of like the chikrat. And the turmeric has that antihistamine quality to it. Now, haritaki is an herb for, constipation and warm digestion. Ajwan also is a type of spice, good for digestion. Trivet is for your liver, And we didn't really talk much about that, but why people can't digest oily or fatty foods usually goes back to their liver. So trivet is kind of stimulating the bile. So this works very well. It's kind of an ancient formula. I just added the curcumin to it. But besides that, this is an ancient formula, been around for thousands of years, and it relieves the immune reactions like swelling, hives, and itching skin that from heavy foods like wheat, nuts, and dairy. Very, very effective formula. But if you're just having not so much allergic reaction, but just a little digestive issues, I'll at least give you this tea, which is a big seller. You can see all the testimonials down here at the bottom where people are saying, oh, I had abdominal pain and bloating. Kabir gave me a cup of this belly tea, and before my cup was fully drunk, the strong, persistent abdominal discomfort was completely gone. So they're going on here. Here's another person. And after years of eating disorder and poor digestion and abuse of laxatives and teas, I no longer bloated and tired when I eat. I recommend Kabir for everyone. She just wrote that with this tea. They said it tastes good. So, and these are not even my patients necessarily. These are just people that bought the tea online. But you could make a very similar tea. This is a very easy tea for you to make. Take a look here. The main ingredients are the ginger and the cumin. Now, I added a little peppermint to it. The lemon balm really is also from the mint family, but not as important. Licorice is just more, a little bit of a catalyst. It's very soothing. And the fennel, of course, is another carminative herb that helps with digestion. And ajwain is very effective. It's really kind of the secret ingredient in there that people can't make this by themselves. But you could copy this by just having ginger, cumin, fennel, any combination. Like I don't do ginger because I'm kind of warm, but I do a lot of fennel and coriander and cinnamon. So, but this is a very effective tea, very simple, and people can make it on their own. Now, if you're a more sensitive person and you're getting like really, super sensitive digestion, then we have this tea, which is more gentle. And you can see there's not even ginger in it. This is like you've got IBS or leaky gut, and you're having chronic food sensitivities. And you can see it's just got cumin, coriander, fennel seeds, and in fact, that's dandelion leaf in there, I believe, not the root. But this is very general. It just gives it a little bitterness, the dandelion. And we just, again, you sip it with the meals or take it after meals for this very sensitive digestion. So you can see the herbs there as we make them. So that's also easy to replicate. Now we have some other Ayurveda formulas which are more important. This one is for Vata. So, I'm going to show you 3 digestive formulas. One for Vata, which is the most person who has the most digestive problems. It's called post-digest, so it's taken after meals. Really improves absorption, really takes care of gas and bloating, and helps you digest foods previously indigestible. And I've got hundreds of testimonials. Chikrat that says, oh, I'm eating foods I never ate before. I mean, I'm doing it all the time. You really can't. You can't debate me on this subject because it's not a theory. This is practical. That's why you see when I promote my podcast, I said, get the reality, not more research, because everybody online, I see all these videos where people say research. Well, I'm not researching. I'm treating people. They're getting over their previously undigestible foods. They're having no more gas, no more bloating, no more constipation. And it's these type of products that are helping. Again, this product is based on Hingvastika, a traditional ancient Ayurvedic formula. I've just broken it down here, and it has salt. It's a little salty, so it's for Vata, not for everybody, not for Kapha or not for Pitta. This is just for that Vata type person because it's got the salt, and Hing is Ashvahita. It's very hot too. Pepper. There's the cumin, the ginger, very important. Dasha Mula. Dasha means 10, and mula means root. So there's 10 herbs there. It just kind of balances vata. And chikrat mula is probably the best herb for digestion in Ayurveda, maybe better than ginger. So this is very, very effective. I sell it a lot. So if you come to me and you're not really having food allergies, but you're getting a lot of gas and bloating and complain about not eating anything, and you like salty taste and you're a thin, cold, dry person, your vata, I give you this formula and it's just like magic for you. It just changes your whole life. Now, if you're pitta, more like me, and you have more heat and acidity, and sometimes loose stools, we have different formulas for that. So generally, this pitta person, they don't have trouble digesting food. They just tend to get, acid reflux or heartburn. So it's a completely different formula. Now, if you're overweight person, see, we have a formula for that. If you're kapha, see, it's a kapha formula. This for, when you feel heavy or sleepy or bloated after meals. And there's the chikrat mul, again, is the first herb. Gumar is for the blood sugar, because this person, we want to keep their blood sugar under control. There's the ginger, the black pepper, and the long pepper. In fact, those three spices, ginger, long pepper, and black pepper, make up an Indian formula called trikatu, means three pungent spices. So it's the trikatu plus gumar for blood sugar plus chikrat mul, the premier herb for digestion, particularly heavy. So I'll pick one of those, whether you're based on vata, pitta, or kapha. Now, a good general formula that people really aren't buying much, but really is, see, it says right here, is good for kapha or vata. This is a really nice formula. It's for digestion and elimination for really mild digestive problems. It's not too bad. Like the person's having digestive problems, but it's not too bad. Then I give them this. And if they're just having just maybe one bowel movement a day and we need a little help, I give them this, because it's kind of a little bit, it even says good for long-term use, helps absorption and elimination. It's really a great traditional formula. I got it from my teacher, but I know he got it from books. It's got the triphala in it, amlaki, haritaki, bibataki. Then it's got the carminative herbs, ginger, cumin, and fennel, and black pepper, which make it taste good, because triphala is more for the colon and absorption, but doesn't taste that good. And then the ginger, cumin, fennel give it a nice taste, and the black pepper gives it a little kick. It's a little too hot for the pitta type or somebody with acidity, but very nice formula. Tastes good with that. Feels good. Like a child, I would give them this one. It's more gentle than the other ones that I introduced. So, that's the way I would treat these digestive problems, because I have the herbs. And of course, I have the knowledge of the herbs and how to make them. And I have more digestive products than that. I only just showed you part of them. So that's why I'm so successful. I'm basing it on Ayurveda, not on research from YouTube. So, and these are Ayurvedic formulas that have been around literally for hundreds and hundreds of years. So they're very proven. There's a lot written about them. Once you understand them and know how to use them and what they're for, you can resolve almost every digestive problem. So I'll just review. First, you've got to follow the rules of good digestion and food combining. Number two, you should eliminate certain foods that just aren't suitable for you in the first place. And number three, you need some aids, like at least some home remedies, like sipping ginger tea or cumin coriander tea, or like me, fennel tea, or taking these herbal formulas to just resolve it fast. I mean, these digestive problems, they go away in weeks with the treatment that I'm talking about here. When you really know what you're doing, you change the diet. The people are creating the digestive problem with the snacking and the bad food combining 99% of the time. And then the herb is just making sure the problem is gone fast, So everybody by follow-up is always telling me, yeah, my gas and bloating is much better. And again, if you had constipation, I would have given you herbs for your constipation to take at night. So I hope that helped you understand that you could probably eat a lot more dairy and wheat and other foods than you think if you start following the digestive rules. I have many webinars on this if you look it up. And eat the foods that are suitable for you as per Ayurveda, and you're just not eating the wrong foods in the first place. Even though if you think they're healthy, they could be not suitable for you. So you need to eliminate the ones that aren't suitable for your body. And then you can learn some of these home remedies or Ayurvedic formulas. That's it. I mean, I take one of these I take a different digestive tea I didn't even pull up called sweet digestive tea. I'd have it almost every day, and I wouldn't even say I have a digestive problem, but it feels so good. And same for that Vata digestive tea, belly ease. Some people, they say my digestion is good, but that tea just feels good. Well, it's helping you to digest, helping you to absorb your nutrients. And then a lot of people, they go, once their digestion is good, even for a couple weeks, their energy gets better. Then they're off the coffee. Then they're up all day instead of napping and crashing in the afternoon. Then they sleep better, and their whole life changes once you improve your digestion. So you have to accept, if you're getting a lot of gas and bloating and constipation, or even acid reflux, or not hungry and no appetite, then you have a digestive problem. There's no point for you to be taking a bunch of supplements or doing test. Everybody does all these tests. Everything looks good. But no, nobody's looking at their diet. Nobody knows. These doctors don't understand anything about nutrition, not alone digestion. And then naturopaths just give you enzymes all the time. Nobody's fixing the problem except the Ayurveda doctors, the true masters of digestion. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I educated you, because that's really the most important thing, is to be educated on this subject and not and understand how your digestive system works for you individually, and what you can do to improve it, and what you're doing probably to make it worse every single day. So remember, take responsibility. If you can't eat a food, look at your digestive system, look at your eating habits, look at the foods you're eating, and adjust them accordingly based on the information that you learn about your own digestion. Of course, if you do an appointment with me, I just teach you this in the appointment. And then once you've got the knowledge, that's it. You wish you would have had it 10, 20 years earlier. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy your wheat, enjoy your dairy once you fix your digestion, and don't blame the cow and don't blame the grains. Get good quality of these products and make wise choices and follow proper food combining, and look up these little home remedies or buy these herbal products on herbmanteas.com and take care of your digestive system once and for all. Thank you very much. And thank our sponsor, herbmanteas.com. And you can use the coupon code webinar10off for 10% off everything on the site. Oh, look, I got the same vest and a similar shirt on my cup. God bless everybody. Thank you.